Hello everybody and welcome. Today I'm gonna share my thoughts on a topic that I'm asked a lot about, and it is becoming a freelancer if you're a software engineer or someone that's writing code for a living. Every time we're making decisions like this for our lives, we have to consider the pros and cons, and the pros of becoming a freelancer are kinda obvious, so we're gonna cover them very briefly. First one of them is obviously you're probably gonna get paid a bit better for what you're doing. And the reason is because when you work for a large company or even a small company, there is like middle management, upper management, there are all other departments, sales, people that kind of feed off what you are actually producing as a value for the customers. And when you scrape those off, there is a higher fee you can actually charge, higher fee in terms of what you are going to get, the end customer. And usually what they pay is less than what they will pay to a company for the job, to you, and you're gonna get a bit more just because of getting rid of, let's call it, the middleman. And you're probably also gonna work with a little bit more flexibility depending on the type of contracts you get, but you will be the one oftentimes choosing how many hours per week you're gonna work, how many hours per day you're gonna work. As I said, of course, it's gonna be depending on the jobs you're getting, but if you want to be a digital nomad and travel the world and work flexible schedule, this week 15 hours, next week 20 hours, the other 40, the other 60 maybe, and get a lot more money for it, you can do that. Yeah, you can do that. And another part of the flexibility thing is that you'll be able to actually pick the projects you work on. Maybe not at the beginning, but at some point in your career, if you are a freelancer for a bit longer and you have kind of worked out the whole thing about the money that you receive, like the cash flow, at that point, you're gonna be like, okay, these are jobs that I want to take, these are projects I don't like, and this flexibility usually you don't get when you work for a company, because the boss is gonna say, hey, you're on that team, you're working on that. You can't try and kind of defend the case to not get moved or to work on something else, but they will not always listen, and they're not obliged to, because they've hired you to work for them, and whatever they say kinda goals. Okay, now let's talk about the cons and start with the most mundane one, and it is working at home. Now that we've all been through the pandemic kinda, and a lot of companies had to actually send people to work from home, you already maybe has a grasp on the challenges there. For example, if you live with kids, other people, sometimes it may be distracting to work at home, and it may be difficult for you if you don't really have the setup. But if you're about to get into the freelancing thing, you probably already have like your whole working setup, so that may not be the problem. But if you have kids and if you live in an apartment, it may be difficult to adjust because it's a bit noisy at home. If you do not live with other people but you live alone, you will find that the distractions are still there, but they're different. Like in the office, someone's gonna tap you on the shoulder, they're gonna pull you into a meeting, you're gonna have to, I don't know, deal with a lot of noise around you in terms of other people. And when I say noise, I don't only mean audio noise. And when you work alone at home, the distraction is the TV, the pet, the friends that are calling you because they have a day off and they want to have a coffee with you because they know that you're generally available for different things during the day. And you may find it a bit difficult to adjust and kind of kick your ass in order to get the work done. Okay, before we move on, let's talk a bit about experience that I feel you have to have in order to become a freelancer, and my recommendation. Now, if you have been working as a software developer for over 6 or 7 years, I will say, okay, it's fine to consider it, weigh the pros and cons, decide for yourself. If you have less than 5 years of experience, I will suggest that you stay a bit longer, maybe plan for it in the future. But my general rule of thumb is that even if you went to college and to university and if you have a software degree, you kind of need at least 5 years working with other people in different environments, on different projects, in order for you to be able to actually deliver software on your own. The general thing here is, do you feel confident enough in your ability to solve each and every problem that may arise during a project by yourself? If you do feel confident, great, consider it. If you still do not feel confident and you do not feel like you have the seniority to deliver a piece of software entirely on your own, I'd suggest you maybe stay a little bit longer in the job, maybe go to a different company, get a little bit of different experience, work on different type of projects, use different technologies, and then consider it again. Another thing you have to consider before you take the step and become a freelancer is what are your technical abilities. And when I say this, I don't mean the level of your technical abilities, but the technologies that you use. Like, what is the stack that you use? How many different technologies can you actually prove that you're capable of using and deliver software with them? For example, if everything you've done so far in your professional career is work and write code with one of the top 5, top 10 technologies, like in terms of languages. So your whole your career, you've written Node.js. I got news for you. You're not the only one. So there are a lot of other people there with the same skill set. They are also offering their services to potential customers and to potential clients. And you gotta stand out somehow. I'm not saying that you cannot make it like this, but it's gonna be a bit more difficult. Now, if you have a specialized skill, you will probably find it easier to find your first jobs. And when I'm saying this, we also have to talk about the fact that you should, I think, never leave your job and become a freelancer before you have a plan how you're going to get your first jobs, or even if you don't already have them. So the first couple of projects are ultra important for you to manage your revenue stream, to manage the income, and be prepared to actually jump into this new thing in your life. Now, having a portfolio and all before you jump to becoming a freelancer without having a clear idea what you're gonna work on, and depending on the fact that you're good and your portfolio is good and you're just gonna easily sell yourself, is kind of a risky strategy, because I'm sorry, but most of us, software developers and software engineers and IT people, we're not great salespeople, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. We are good at one thing, and there is another profession, there is another skill set required for you to actually sell an ability, sell a project, sell something. So you have to be aware that it is 100% possible that at some point you're gonna feel like you lack in the ability to sell your skill, that no one out there is wanting your skill, and that's wrong. There is always people that require a good service, and if you're considering freelancing as a viable option for you professionally, I'm pretty sure that you're good at what you want to do. But as I said, the best way to do it is to have project or projects you're going to be working on when you quit your daytime job in advance. Now, last but not least, you have to be prepared to be a one-man band. You're going to be writing code, you're going to be doing the whole stack. This is something we don't even have to discuss, you know it already. You're going to have to be a salesperson, you're going to have to be a manager sometimes, depending on the clients and the projects you work on, but you will have to fill in a lot of time the job of someone that is doing the management part of it, maybe managing tickets, not maybe. You have to work a lot with the clients. So let's face it, if you don't have previous experience of working directly with a client and working with requirements that are changing all the time, because let's face it, most of the clients are like this, they change requirements, so you have to learn in the process what to write down, how to negotiate, when to say no, how to say no, and whom to say no to. So there are quite a lot of things you have to learn, and this whole stack of different things, like, you will soon find out that writing code or delivering projects is maybe not more than half the work you actually have to do as a freelance software developer. And another thing that you have to keep in mind is that you're gonna have to pay taxes. And depending on the country you're in, the legal way for you to be freelancing is different, but you always have to pay taxes. So you have to keep in mind that you're gonna need an accountant. And this is a skill set I do not really suggest for you to learn on your own. And if you want to, do it. I don't know, maybe in your country it's super easy, but in most countries it's not easy, and you can get in trouble if you make mistakes with your taxes. So when those payments start coming in, they're gonna look cool, but you're gonna have to pay taxes, you're gonna have to pay for services like accounting, and they're gonna get reduced slightly. But all in all, working as a freelancer, it's a fun experience, it's a different experience, it gives you the flexibility that you might need in your life. It is very okay if you do not feel like this flexibility is something you need. It is very much okay if you don't like working on your own. It is very much okay if you struggle with finding clients. The most important question for you personally is, what do you want? What do you need? What do you find most suitable for your personality and for your lifestyle? So, becoming a freelancer is not the easiest thing out there. If you have any questions, I'm more than open to answering them. Please write them in the comments below, and see you next time. Bye bye.